Wes Anderson has a very unique look and a feel to his films, and that look has spawned, countless imitators and people telling you how to achieve this look. But where did Wes Anderson find the inspiration for this look in the first place? How's it? I could watch Wes Anderson films all day long. Well, most of them all day long. And, and books like this are fantastic. They've got a real insight into the man as a filmmaker, that kind of weird feel that he has to all of his films. It's not just from the composition approaches and the color palette and things, but they seem to all exist in this kind of weird, not quite real time and place. When I was browsing the internet a couple of years ago now, right, there was a video talking about the connection between Wes Anderson and a French photographer called Jacques Henri-Lartigue. I have talked about Lartigue in the past, and the last time I did this, I spent the entire video saying his name is Lartigue. So I don't know why, right? But we're going to go with that. Say he's a photographer you never heard of, Jacques Henri-Lartigue. Lartigue is a fantastic photographer. He is full of fun. He is. I don't think he was never really kind of like a full-on professional. Though later in his life he was, hired to do some commercial work and things like this. But he existed on the cusp of photography growing as an accessible art form. The fingerprints of Lartigue's photography are all over Wes Anderson films, especially the earlier ones, where there are completely shot-for-shot remake or copying of images. Lartigue's brother, I believe, was called Zizou, and you may recognize it. Zizou is in Steve Zissou and all these kind of things. So the echoes are all there. And what I love about Jacques' photography, and you notice I'm going to say that because even now I'm stumbling over his name. It is a name that, for some reason in my head, since I first heard it, it is Lartigue, not Lartigue, or the other way around. See, I'm even getting confused now. Anyway, be that as it may, right? So his work, he was a little boy when photography was just getting going. And when I first saw his images, when I first introduced them, I was kind of like, oh, okay. Like a lot of photography I've seen, I was kind of go, all right, I don't really get the point here. This is not a great photograph. It's blurry. It's kind of, the tones aren't really that special and all these kind of things. And totally missing the point. Lartigue was a child. He was given a camera as a little boy. His family were in a position to be able to afford these things. And he photographed the world as a child. It was a world that was changing, and he was seeing it through not stilted, staged visions of what things should be, right? But how he interpreted it as a boy. He just kind of saw something that looks pretty cool. He reacts to it. He tells somebody, jump down the stairs with a tennis racket, and they do it. All these kind of things that they invoke or imbue into his images. This a childlike wonder. I dig looking at these photographs. They just, there's something about it that every time I feel that photography is getting a bit, my photographer or who I'm talking to is getting a bit earnest, getting a bit serious, that you kind of look at this and go, do you know what? He was a man just doing his own thing. Now this particular volume that I picked up here and I've shown is Lartigue, A Life in Color. And he also photographed, not just obviously the black and white stuff, which most people are familiar with, but these wonderful photographs of places that he was going in the 50s, and even some earlier stuff as well. That there's color plates here, autochrome plates, and I'll do a whole thing on autochrome if you want to, because I love autochrome. It's got some weird sort of color looks. But this is 1915, 1927. That here is a little boy, probably not a little boy at that point, right? Just photographing a time and a place that most other people, I think people who also take photography seriously would just kind of go, yeah, it's not really for me. Or try and imbue some sort of meaning, symbolism into the photography. I think there's a real issue here, that often that people who are trying to take photographs of everyday things, let's call them, for want of a better word, the mundane things, think that photography is supposed to have a purpose. Like William Eggleston. He's very Marmite, this kind of love him or hate him thing. Marmite's a yeast-based spread here in the UK, and their adverts like, you love it or you hate it. Eggleston is just kind of photographing things that interest him. And he's got a record saying that there is no meaning to his photographs. If you want to find some meaning, then that's your thing. So there is that kind of, the idea that, people are putting in meaning where there doesn't necessarily have to be any. And because of this, they're missing some of these great images. And the images that, that have, come down to us from people like Lartigue is I can't really put it into words. They are wonderful to behold. I find some of the most exciting photography is taken by people who are not specifically photographers. Wes Anderson, looked at this body of work, and he found within there enough to inspire him to put part of that little boy with a camera into the photographs and the images and the visuals that Wes Anderson has created in this world of his. I love that because he's not being obvious about it, apart from when he does the shot-for-shot changes. But it is it's a show of how, when you take inspiration from all sorts of places and you combine it, you make something that becomes your look, right? So, most people within the film world and who have a passing interest in cinema know what a Wes Anderson look is. Your job, our job, everybody's job, if you want to, to create a style or a feeling, what have you, is to take these approaches, to take the feeling and the fun and the enthusiasm that you get from people like Lartigue, and you put it into your photography. You combine these things in unique ways. This is, part of one of the aspects when I talk about in the Authentic Vision Framework, the course that I put on, is taking the inspirations that feel honest to you and then combining them with your own unique sensibilities. And you end up with this amalgamation that feels unique. Well, because it is unique. Much like Wes Anderson and his look and the feel and the color palette and all that kind of stuff is the result of him taking all of his inspirations, combining them and giving them life. I want you to think about that in your photography. The inspirations that you get. If you love Wes Anderson, and many people clearly do, there's whole videos about how to recreate his look in photography. And I, said, these are all great pictures. I love them. I have no problem with these. These are fantastic. And they have taken Wes Anderson, the pictures, they're alive to these sensibilities, and they're putting them together. There's nothing wrong with celebrating a style or a look or a feel of somebody else's work if you understand why it moves you in the first place. Don't just be a copyist. Embrace the feeling and the vibe of what it is that attracts you to that look in the first place. Thank you ever so much for watching, and check out this video over here. Thank you again, and I'll see you again soon.